Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show to Be with Mike G, the show of life, the show of business, the show of Chihuahua, Sotol, and so much more. It's my pleasure to, after 8 years, I originally spoke with Ricardo Pico many years ago. I was new to the Sotol game. It was before there was a lot of argument about it, and the category was even smaller than it is today, which it remains very small. But I've been on this journey with Sotol, whether making it or working with these plants, and Ricardo has been a very sage-like force to help me understand the culture, the materials, the process, and a lot of other things as well. So it's always great to chat with him. But here, finally, we get to sit in the studio again as his career has evolved. He's had Sotoleros, a great brand with different producers, and now the latest chapter, Nocheluna, with Casalumbre. And it's a very interesting tale indeed. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this great chat with Ricardo Pico from Nocheluna.
Very into music since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't focus on playing an instrument. I mean, I did very basic piano. I mean, I studied piano. It's incredible, and probably is one of my favorite instruments. I mean, I play just very basic.
Sure, but it resonates with you. Like it connects with you.
Yes. I'm a big fan of Latin American music, and so I like. There's this Argentinian singer-composer, Fito Páez, Charlie Garcia. Those guys are amazing at the piano and singing. So, coming back a little bit to the style of
Elton
John. Yeah, remember that we were talking about the Formula One.
Yeah, you were here for F1 probably 9 years ago. One of the first, if I recall, that they had, and to see Elton John, which I thought was incredible.
Which was a coincidence. I mean, I was there for the race, but yeah, I mean, it happened to, and it was we were talking about some artists that are that you're not like a huge fan of, but then you're like, oh, I know this song. That's what happened to me that day, but. Again, I mean, seeing a professional musician, any genre, even you like it or not, you can appreciate it if you have a taste for music.
You're right. And so actually, this is something that's I love going to shows still. This is just me as a teenager. I used to go to shows. I go to shows. I don't like festivals as much. I like shows, like small shows, and I'll still get hit and stuff in the pit. I don't care about that, But you have a really good ability to communicate online, right? So your account's good. El Sotolero. I mean, you're the guy, right? But you're very engaged, and you do. I think the photography is good. The videos are good. Do you think that people now versus when we were both a little bit younger, that they're as interested in seeing live music now? Because not everything, but many of the things people experience are on phones now. Do you think it's different for younger generations?
What I have seen, for instance, I agree with you. I rather go to a small private concert than a big stadium concert. I don't know. For me, I think there's something intimate to music and some sort of an ambience that's created whenever something's small.
Right.
But I think that everything is a lot more immediate. I mean, even in taste of trends, musical trends, they're constantly changing. But they are also so powerful that, for instance, I was in Madrid like a year and a half ago, and so I ended up. I don't like discotecas. I don't like.
I don't.
clubs,
Yeah, it's not my thing.
but I ended up in one.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden they started playing. It was in Madrid, and they were all of a sudden Peso Pluma starts
Okay.
sounding on the speakers, and everyone was singing it. And you're in Madrid, like
Mhm.
it was just when Peso Pluma was kind of getting famous in Mexico. So everything's so immediate. I mean, it crosses
Yeah.
continents, it crosses, and but all of a sudden it dies, and
It
then
dies.
who's the next one?
Right. I think that's a really interesting thing. So the immediacy is very, very big point. I did a lot of, I say this in quotes, work on TikTok for multiple years, doing video reviews and reviewing bottle. I'm gonna say right now, I was the first person to review Sotol on TikTok for fucking sure, right? Anyway, but the thing
did you dance?
I'm gonna give you. You can guess if I dance or not. Not exactly my thing. I got good rhythm, but I'm not sure my body's got good rhythm. Right? But the thing is that having been a musician and having toured, and I didn't ever rely on it as the sole source of income. But for when I was younger, I certainly wanted to make some money to like make a living. And what's interesting is like someone will say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see this TikTok artist." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then 6 months from now, they won't care.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, but it's so disposable.
Disposable. Yes, that's the word. That's it.
So because you've been in this game for Sotol for a long time, I mean, I've done videos about it. You've done, like, we've really tried to talk about the category for a long time. It was never about us. It was always about the category. We stuck around,
And the people.
And the people, absolute, the place, the people, the terroir, like all of these unique things to Sotol and Chihuahua specifically, right? But do you start seeing people trying to come into the world of Sotol and do basically a TikTok takeover and be the face of Sotol? There's a lot of like influencer culture and stuff with Sotol, or is it not affected yet?
The thing is, I'm not the kind of consumer, so I mean, like, I only have a TikTok to have the handle, like just for the handle. Never use it. I'm not that big of a content creator. For instance, most of the time, actually, I like Instagram.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, Instagram, I think, and more than just like a promotion tool. I use it a little bit more as a way to communicate. I mean, so for instance, I'm not that good also with
dancing.
Dancing neither, but with using the communicating through cell phone. So for instance, for me, it's easier to tell them like, oh, just add me and send me a message. So most of my communication goes through Instagram. So that's why I use it the most. And I mean, this is what we do. And sometimes I feel my use of those platforms is a little bit more to, of course, promote what I do in the sense that, I mean, helping the brands, helping the producers, capturing beautiful moments, but also as a thank you to whenever I go have a good meal with a friend, a chef friend of mine, or whenever I go to a bar and I like it's a small way to capture and pay tribute or homage, and because maybe whoever sees that post is like, oh, that looks good. I'm gonna go to that place. So those are my two takes on what I do with the
raising other people up.
Correct.
That's the thing too. And I had this conversation today, and last night we talked about the election and stuff. And obviously, this week in America, a lot of people, understandably so, are inconsolable, or maybe they're incredibly happy. Like I can see both points of view, whether I agree with it or not. And the thing that's interesting is that I was talking earlier and it said all that I really want to do this week, besides hang out with you and like talk to you and stuff, is I want to make sure everybody else is raised up. So my account, you'll very seldom see pictures of me because who gives a shit, right? Like now I've seen a lot of videos of you singing on your account, but I think what you're saying is like last night we're at Mexta, right? and Gabriela was there, and the food was incredible. The drinks were incredible, and I'm with you. I want my post to be everybody run now to go get this incredible food and to get this incredible service. So you never think your accounts should be just you about your life and the things that you have opinions about.
Actually, that is the thing. I mean, keeping a good balance is difficult because sometimes, I mean, whenever I'm home, what first thing I do is I go and see my kids and hang out with them. So you'll see, I mean, like a small break from the routine, like the regular
Ricardo
programming, which is regularly is Sotol or being with Don Lalo at the Binata or being in the market. But and then you see a couple of pictures of my kids. But I mean, I don't really. I mean, there's a lot of people that's very protective about that.
Yes,
I understand. But I don't know. I think there are more good people than bad people, and I think if we share, we should share who we are in general. Not I think of course sometimes we're playing the character or the business person but I mean we're also brothers and dads and
husbands and wives, right?
Exactly. I mean, I don't think, and I wouldn't even have time to build so many accounts, and then I'm posting on this one and this other one. I barely can manage between having mine and the Sotoleros for my brand. Sometimes I forget about it, and it will be like, I have this message. Where can I get it? And I feel so awful because I mean I don't have any like social media managers
I know.
And sometimes just to keep up with the more people the more you travel, the more you and sometimes you forget and you're like, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot about this message. You get back to them 2 months after and you're like, I feel terrible. But
it's tough, right? Making sure you keep in touch, that you stay in touch.
and then the dichotomy of being present.
Oh my gosh!
So, for instance, yesterday we were saying about Mexta, and I forgot to take pictures of the food.
I
only took picture of one of the drinks, La Vinata, which I loved, and because I was present, because I was enjoying the moment.
Yes.
So it's that dichotomy of let me I'm sorry, don't start on the food because I'm taking a picture. I mean that's also so kind of rude, right? Exactly. And kind of rude but necessary when you do what you do.
I was talking to Cesar earlier and I said, thanks for the hospitality, and the thing that why it's always so much fun to hang out with you and Cesar, because we've done it many times, the three of us, and Marfa, for instance. I think the reason that I enjoy it so much, and this is what I told him, is that it feels present, to your point, but it feels transparent.
Yes.
We're all we've got nothing to hide from each other. We're not trying. I don't need you to think I'm somebody that I'm not. You just are you. I just am me. And so knowing that our lives, and we're both, we're over 40, I'll put it that way, right? So we have a different perspective and we've lived a little longer, obviously, than other generations. But do you think that eventually there will be a desire from younger generations, because you got 2 kids, right? You said 10 and 14 or 10 and 8?
10 and 8.
10 and 8, right? Yeah. And so you think that they'll realize someday, if they don't already, that they need to be present sometimes too?
Oh, yes. Actually, my daughter, she's super smart about that. Because my kid, I mean, he's a little old, 2 years older, but he likes more like TV or the video games.
Sure.
And Julia, my daughter, is sometimes like, hey Ricardo, we're seeing that. So I mean, we come and sit at the table, and we keep him company because we don't get to see him every day.
That's right.
So she's very present in that way. And recently, I went to Spain, and one of my tasks, because he whenever they ask for my phone, I rarely give it to them.
Okay.
So they for them to play.
Uh-huh.
But so my answer is most of the time no. And then Ricardo was like, "Hey, can I have your phone?" No. Oh, I just wanted to play chess. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Then take it. So they always play on the cell phone. My daughter against my kid.
Yeah.
And so I was in Barcelona, so I went to the fleet shop to look for like a small one, but old, kind of antique chess board.
Oh, that's cool.
So I found this amazing one, very small, but with magnetic, pieces.
What were the pieces made of? Was it metal? It must have been metal, right?
No, it's they're kind of like plastic, but they have like a metal base.
I see.
It's very cool. So that's what I brought them, and sometimes that's why I love fleet shops. I mean, I think we have so many material things and always buying something new and disposing of things. And I rather, find something that has a soul, that has been used and and you give it a new use. So yeah, I bought that there. I found a rosary, like the for my mom. She's very Catholic, so I brought her like a rosary that was like in mother pearl, the cover with with silver. And I mean, you find so many things that you're like, wow. I mean, who was the owner previously, and that makes you think a lot.
And staying connected to things that you can touch.
Yes,
because you can't touch an influencer. I mean, you could if you met him, I guess, but you can't touch an influencer when they post a video. And this is not an attack. I'm just saying,
no,
you spirits, things, tactile things, they must be interacted with in person. And tangible, exactly. And so I think that's so vital that you keep that. And I think that it's good to know that you realize that you need to stay present for certain things, right? Which I think is incredibly important.
Yes, and to keep that balance is difficult.
It's very difficult, especially when you're traveling so much. You're educating across the world about Sotol, Nocheluna, and then you're probably talking about Sotoleros as well. And something I wanted to ask you, because if you I'm trying to think what would be an apt comparison, but like if you say best character actor in movies or something, right? Like Gary Oldman might come up. Gary Oldman's in everything. He plays every kind of character, and it's like, oh yeah, he's in everything. Most likable actor, Tom Hanks probably comes up, right? And so if you were to Google world expert on Sotol, your name comes up. How do you feel about that? Really almost being the single most trusted source of information about Sotol in the world. And we're friends. I'm not trying to make you feel good. I don't care about that, right? But how do you feel like that you really are kind of, there are many personalities in Sotol, don't get me wrong, but you have been in media, you've been in interviews, you've been in Forbes, you've been all over the place. Do you like that attention?
I do, because in that sense, we probably are two of the most knowledgeable persons in this industry.
Thank you.
And that's a responsibility. I mean, you build that through time.
Yes.
I mean, I recall when I used to work for a brand and I started. I mean, man, I didn't know much, other than being born and raised there. But still, I had very little information on what Sotol really was, or what was behind this undiscovered world.
Yes,
that was behind commercial Sotol production. And so it has been a path that I have been building. But when I talk about Sotol, I mean, I'm just the vessel, I'm just the
diplomat.
Yes, because and sometimes people introduces me, and I mean they don't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, so you're the distiller, and I'm like, no, no, no. I'm just a guy that went
Yeah.
out there to look for artisanal sotol producers, and happens to be blessed enough to be traveling and spreading the word. So coming back to your question, I think it's a lot of responsibility, because you have to keep up to date. You have to keep reading. You have to keep. I love. I mean, sometimes you do business reading,
Yeah.
and sometimes you do pleasure reading.
Yes.
I love to read for pleasure. I'm a
Really?
huge fan of Latin American
Oh, I didn't know that.
novels,
Yeah.
but I don't have the time, because I'm most of the time I'm reading books on denominations of origin, on
Science and
tequila,
stuff,
and mezcal,
right.
fermentations, and I mean, you can never do as many things as you
Right.
wish.
To.
And I think the timing right now, it's to dedicate my life,
Yeah.
to build this category. And so I think it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of dedication. I take it, you're not only the ambassador to yourself, but with all the people that you're carrying with you.
You're like
in bottles, or
yeah,
in your mind.
It's like you're like a senator in a way, right? Because you're representing the personalities, the production, the livelihood of these people that live in places, and they rely on Sotol to make it and to have economic enrichment, right?
Yes, because and that's the thing. That is still a problem.
Yeah.
And something that you learn is that I mean, you can try, but you can never change everyone's lives.
Of course. Yeah.
But you can try. I mean, and that's what I do. I keep trying. Even when business sometimes it's not as good with a small project with Sotoleros, for instance, where we struggle a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, we keep on. Because all these producers continue going on, and they don't throw the towel either.
Yeah.
So you have to be there for them in the good and the bad. For the good are always weddings and baptisms and graduations, but the bad can be hospital bills. The bad could be death, funerals, and you have to be there if they're really your family.
It's a great point, because I think a lot. You and I have been part of this industry because we didn't want to take anything from it. We wanted to be part of it and to share stories and to learn, right? I feel like there is a layer in this industry, let's just say the agave spirits, that really all that they seek out to do is to extract from it. My friend Francisco Terrazas, which you know Francisco, he introduced me this term some years ago, extractivism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just about taking enough from this industry to make yourself popular, and then you walk away. But I can see with you and for me, we're not going to walk away. There's nothing that we're trying to take from anybody. And I love all of the people that I've met in this industry, and the Sotoleros that I've met, the Mezcaleros and everything. I think it's very interesting. One of the things, and I was thinking about your journey, right? And do you ever think about kind of capturing? Actually, let me step back. This is what I was thinking of. So, in America, we have a view of Mexico. Now, it's not a good view, and we view Mexico as one big culture.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I both know norteño, that there's a different kind of style from stuff in Guerrero, like it's different people-wise and distillation-wise. But I remember when I learned about Sotol from you, there was something that I didn't know about the culture of it. I knew about process, but I didn't know about the culture of it. And that people would die for making Sotol. And they would go clandestino, which is obviously a reference to a previous brand that you had. But where is Mexico now with recognizing Sotol? Because at one point, it was shooting the Sotoleros and shooting the stills. Another point, around 1920 in Prohibition here, hundreds of thousands of liters of Sotol were destroyed in favor of French and aged kind of spirits. Is Mexico now kind of saying, you know what, Sotol, that is our thing. We're proud of it. Has the attitude changed within Mexico?
I think so. But also you were mentioning something very interesting. And yesterday, as I was doing a couple of the trainings, I was mentioning that sometimes, I mean, the North, yes, the North is completely different.
Different.
And sometimes I say without, like any bad meaning to it. But sometimes I when I'm giving a training, I say, Chihuahua is probably more similar to Texas than it is to Chiapas.
Yeah, precisely.
Because it's a completely different culture, different cuisine. Here we have some common ground on culture,
right? Like,
on food, on beverages, because the geographical conditions give you that. They make us very similar. But coming back to your question, I think yes. I mean, there's a lot more knowledge on what Sotol is today.
Yeah.
And the Mexican government, I mean, still taxes and all of that are very complicated. It's still a very an industry that is very complex to get in. Because all the amount of permits you have to get.
Right.
So
I know about the permits here, being in the United States, and I'm going to hand you some Sotol because I so selfishly kept you.
Thank you very much. No worries at all. Yeah. So actually, and as you were, I just a quick parenthesis. I also, one of my roles is also being the vice president of the Consejo Certificador del Sotol.
That's right.
So. Part of our task there is to work with the authorities. I recently organized just very
a conference or something, right? Like
a Sotol festival.
Yeah,
yes.
I saw that.
And I was taking some trips. I mean, my regular work trips, and just doing education, and. Most of my stops, I was just, I mean, always, a purpose is always to make friends, expand your friendships and people that becomes family with time. And I was in Tijuana, and I was at Minimal Bar, and I told them, hey, I'm organizing this. They're like, oh, we want to go. So even when it was very short notice, I was like, if we don't do it right now, the agenda is going to be full. I mean, October, you have a lot of things going. You have all the Oktoberfest festivals. You have, and then November, it's kind of also, if we have a bartender awards in Mexico. Right. Then October, of course, all the European fairs, BCB.
Greek Athens.
And then, the 50 Fest, Madrid, and so I was recruiting. So we brought to Chihuahua, a bar from Tijuana, a bar from New Orleans, two great bars from Mexico City, Salón de Agave from Max Miller, and Tlecan, which was awarded number 20 in the world this year on the 50 Best list. We had a bar from Ciudad Juárez. From Oscar Olvera came with us, great bartender and bar owner. And who else? Who am I forgetting? Two chefs, Chef Alex Borunda from Taconeta in El Paso.
I know Alejandro. He's a great guy.
Amazing guy. Yes. So they did a takeover at a brewery from a friend of mine has an incredible brewery called El Gardenia. And so he cooked. And Tlecan made the drinks.
No
so
way.
That was amazing because they're both the concept as like lot of like Mexico and soul and roots, and Alejandro too. I mean, he works his masa. I think that was a very good pairing.
I love that. I've never talked about corn more with anybody than him.
Oh yes, he's a corn freak.
We're cornographic. Put it that way, right? Like, and we talk about this stuff. But I'm so glad that because. Something that, if I recall, the first time we chatted, and I think we share this in common, and that is to bring people together, right? It's not about us. It's about bringing a community together, making introductions, and allowing people to connect over things that they're passionate about.
Correct.
Am I remembering this correctly? You tell me that you got, because you went to UTEP, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it that you were trying to do public affair or politics? Is that what you got your degree in?
Economics.
Economics, okay. But
I did master's in public administration afterwards.
Yeah, which I think that indicates like maybe at some point not that you will, but that maybe you wanted to run for office or bring people together or be a politician.
Yeah, I mean,
you are already really.
As a kid, it was my dream, like, I saw the president. I was like, I want to be that guy,
Yeah.
But with time you learn, and that's, for instance, most of my inspiration and coming back to my studies,
Mm-hmm.
I think was my economic development class, because you see how most of the world's problems, which are very basic, we're talking water services,
Yes.
we're talking health,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking education, the three pillars, of human development. And most of those problems are very easy to solve, but we just decide not to.
We get distracted, especially in the States.
Well, and sometimes it's not the priority.
That's right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But so then I guess that's what took me to rural communities and to seek do justice for these small producers.
Justice. It makes so much sense, right? You want to bring people together. You want to represent those that perhaps cannot represent themselves, and you want to make sure there's fairness, health, accommodations,
and love.
Of course.
Because I think, I mean, again, we were talking yesterday about one of our mentors.
Yeah.
And he is my top mentor in life.
No,
and
Tomas is a beautiful person.
Exactly, Tomas Estes.
Yeah.
And Tomas always said, "Love will always be greater than fear."
Oh man, I love that.
And that's what we should do. I mean, like, work, focus on ourselves, on our work, that our work talks for us, but also that we can always represent and stand up for those that are in a worse condition, or that are struggling. And so yes, I mean, right now I feel things are evolving in that sense. Through the council, we organized that festival.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy for those kind of organizations to focus on the how not to, instead of, let's do it, let's go for it, let's figure it out while we do it.
Yeah.
Let's wing it.
So here's something. So I was in Guadalajara a couple weeks ago. I told you I was at Fortaleza, and I interviewed Guillermo, and I asked him in the interview on the mic, are you gonna ever write a book? Because I'm sure you got stories, right? He's like, yeah, but I can't write about them. And then we stopped recording, and he told me stories, right? About Tomas specifically. So because he was such an amazing person, and he impacted us both profoundly, can you tell me maybe one of your favorite Tomas stories?
Oh yes. He was a very smart and warm person. I think he was. I recall him as he had a very unique talent, which was that you could be with him in a room surrounded by people.
Yeah.
And he would make you feel like you were the only two persons in the room.
That's right. Yeah.
So I recall him. I picked him up at the airport. He went to visit Chihuahua. I think it was 2017, 2018. And as we were, I was driving from the airport, and he was recording and making some notes for his VO version original of the Tequila Ambassador. And I was telling him, like, oh well, there's producers around this area of Sotol, near to the airport, and so he was like, oh okay, Ricardo, but what is the difference between what you do, and what the producers I work with do against some other producers? And my answer came like without thinking much, because I was driving,
Yeah.
But it really resounded on him, and I told him, um, we don't compromise the integrity of our spirits.
Mm.
I'm like, wow. And he was, I mean, he was so receptive. I mean, he was so, and I think that line pretty much describes all that I do. You know, I mean, sometimes I do some of the most ridiculous things, like buying batches from producers that are 36 liters and send them to Europe. So that's not expensive. You know, and that's a headache for my importer and for my distributors. They all hate me because they'll be like, "Oh, so I have to write a new SKU just because Lupe now found 60% agave and 40% sotol, and then it's gonna keep switching." But that's life, man.
Yeah,
and that's integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even mix batches from the same producer because I see them as works of art.
Right.
It's like an art piece, and that's what gives it value.
I completely agree. And that's the thing that I think we really share in common, is that there's a moment. Production is a moment. Photography is a moment, right? And yes, you can edit the photography, but you would never put two moments from different times together as a single moment, right? So every batch of Sotol that I've tried, especially the stuff from the Sotoleros and going back, it's a snapshot of the person, the emotion, and the plants in a specific time. And you don't want to mess with that. That's honest, you know? And so I really appreciate that you feel that way, because it is not efficient. It's not a cost efficient. 36 liter. I mean, I'm dealing in small batches. I certainly understand that. But I never once said, well, yeah, you know, I want to get it into France. it's like really the amount, you know, I could hold it probably in my arms, you know. So I appreciate that about you, because there's a punk rock ethos to that. One must create, but it doesn't have to be for everybody.
Yes.
And that's what Sotol is, honestly.
And can't be. I think, and also, I mean, I mean, my learnings are in some sort of way the hypocrisy sometimes of this industry. I mean, you might not carry one brand because whatever rumor, or
right,
I don't know, and then they carry this other brand that's super commercial, that is, or I don't know. Sometimes I think like, well, okay, so if it's a Sotol at 43 ABV, doesn't get a pass, but if it's a tequila at 40 ABV, then we love it, you know?
Exactly, man.
So it's very interesting how people and influencers and decision makers reason.
Yeah.
And so I think most of the time they're not, I mean, you cannot generalize.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people that doesn't do the due diligence.
Of course not.
Before criticizing or before shutting doors.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important to, I mean, travel there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to share some with you real quick. So I was recently on I won't name who this person is, but I was recently on a trip to Patron. Now, I love Patron, the people, and David, been friends for a while with a lot of those guys. And I don't judge. Let me see the thing. Let me taste it.
Actually, I mean, again, that is a brand that I that's what I have whenever I mean, if I go to I hate all inclusives, by the way, but sometimes I end up there. I mean, I've been, I feel like a lion in a cage.
Yeah, right.
but
exactly.
Once, I mean, and I'm very grateful because I got the invitation to go to one to give a talk.
Yeah,
and that's why I was there. But then I was at the pool having a drink, and they had like golden mixtos and they had Patron, and I'm like, well, yeah, I can drink Patron Blanco all day, no worries. Yeah. It's I mean, I know it's well made, and it's made in a better way than a lot of other tequilas. I mean, and the process is Taona. Yeah. So sometimes, and it's not an evil company. I mean, I know, and they pay good salaries. They're helping the people. I mean, what's wrong with that?
But it's easier to be misinformed.
Yeah.
So going back to one of the nights I was at the Hacienda, I was outside. It was a beautiful night. drinking one of the high proof. I can't remember which one it was. It was really beautiful. And I was talking to an influencer who does cocktail videos. And this really sticks in my mind because we've been doing this a long time. I've been reviewing stuff. I've been like I'm not new to this. And he's new to it, even though he's actually quite a bit older than me. And he was like, all I want to do, he was so passionate about it. I just want to fight for transparency. And I'm like, okay, I like that. That's great. That's what the tenet that a lot of influencers have. He says, and whiskey needs to be more transparent. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, bourbon's, it's got all these additives. And I'm like, American bourbon, straight bourbon, which is all the stuff that we drink, Wild Turkey, Jim Beam, it's straight. It can't have additives. He goes, yeah, it can. I'm like, it can't. And he's like, all right, let me look it up. He's fighting me on it.
Yeah.
He looked it up. He's like, oh yeah, you're right. So this is the whole point: is that people don't do their due diligence. They just go on a tirade. This is how social media is, and this is not going to turn into a dogmatic rant. That's not what I'm trying to say. But people don't. They don't research it. And they just think that they know. Sotol, they think that they know. And we know a particular person, which I won't name because that'll give him power, right? That thinks he knows. And he maybe does know what it feels like to be a Chilango that travels throughout Chihuahua. But he's not from Chihuahua. He's not an Norteño. He doesn't understand. But I always respect and always appreciated that you were from the place.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you know the people, you know the place, you know the flavor.
Actually, and now that you mention it, for me, as I was telling you, for instance, the festival that we organized, it felt like like a camp,
Oh, cool.
Like everyone all around the city. And what I wanted to achieve was just that, building a family from that first edition of the festival, where everyone gets to know the city.
Yeah,
I collaborate a lot with the tourism board from the state of Chihuahua. They're amazing, and what I've been trying to do is build those bridges. And sometimes when I'm there sharing at conferences or when I tell them, I don't sell Sotol, I sell Chihuahua.
Yeah,
I sell my state. I want more people to come here. I want to break the backlash that Ciudad Juarez has as a violent city. I'm like, hey, have you been there? No, but they say it's violent. Go.
It's great. Yeah.
Go. It's a beautiful city, and the people is beautiful there. Yeah. The hospitality is amazing.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to achieve, and by collaboration with bars, restaurants, and also, but that's my whole goal. And some of the current state government has helped us a lot.
It's amazing
in that sense. So that sets us up for a bright future.
Yeah.
But again, coming to the keyboard warriors.
Yeah, that's right.
It's sad for me to see so much hate.
Yes.
And be in forums. You enter a tequila forum, a poor guy that's just exploring the category posts a bottle of Cuervo, and hey, how is this? And are you stupid? I mean, it's just like, come on, guys. I mean, were you born with a bottle of Fortaleza Still Strength? Right. I mean, like, then why would you do that? I mean, who did that to you? That you're
shamed you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think we should, instead of that, we should be mentors.
Yes.
We should be the ones that walk.
Yes. Empathetic.
With you, empathetic, exactly.
Yes.
And so there's a need for more love, for more empathy, for more
absolutely
in the industry in general, because what these people don't realize is that we're fighting the same battle.
We're on the same team.
Yes.
But somehow we're operating in two different positions.
Exactly. And just being open-minded.
Mm-hmm. And that's, back to our conversation last night, that's what's happening in America right now politically. You and I both realize you must bring people together. You must not judge them for their beliefs because potentially they don't know. Or
they come from a different background.
They come from a different background, which makes even more immediate need to understand. So this is something I haven't asked you yet, and I've been thinking about it because I like the Casa Lumbre people. Ivan is amazing. Everybody I've met. Johnny's great. Y'all have been in one. I've never taken $1 from y'all, so whatever I say is my opinion. I'm not being paid to say this, but I've always really appreciated the innovative spirit. Now, here enters, which I think by calling it a celebrity Sotol brand is stupid. I think that's very reductive. But you have this really, really decorated past as someone that's part of Chihuahua that sticks up for the producers. You have two very established brands that you've done, Clande and Sotoleros, right? How was it for you taking center stage? Because you're the target. You're the guy that's out there. You're traveling. You're the one representing Nocheluna. Besides Lenny Kravitz, but everybody loves him, so no one will give him shit, right? Which I think is very true. And he's a great musician. That's besides the point. Did you get a lot of hate coming into the role and being at center stage for Nocheluna, which people could reduce to just a celebrity, Sotol?
I think it's sometimes perspective.
Yeah.
If people doesn't know you and they see you and they can think anything.
Yeah.
It's a blank page because they haven't met you.
Well, they haven't done their due diligence.
Exactly. Or they haven't tried the product.
Yeah, of course.
And unfortunately, I think that we have been very blessed in that sense that even the detractors or purists, they try it and they're like,
"Oh, right, that's Sotol.
There's nothing wrong with this." I mean, like it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And that is the truth. It's a very transparent product.
Yeah.
So I mean, being center stage, I don't know. I don't care. I mean, I learned. That's part of the learning too.
That's right. Yeah.
Stop caring about what other people thinks or says because we don't have time for that.
That's right. That's hard. It's hard for us sometimes.
It's only what you do and your work, and for me, it's the responsibility of helping people.
Yeah.
So those are my goals.
That's at the top.
That's a greater. Yeah. That's the greater purpose.
I see.
So, for instance, I think Nocheluna is the perfect vessel to achieve that because first the category needs to be constructed.
Mm-hmm.
But having, for instance, I cannot afford Sotoleros here.
It's very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you have certain values, I'm a price taker.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to the producer, hey, what's the price on this? That's
no haggling. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're just focusing on business, which a lot of people does, they're like, oh, I need it at this price, and I'm gonna buy a lot.
Right.
But I need it at this price because if not, I'm not gonna be competitive, and I'm not in it. It's when it's like, hey, who cares? It's not about you. It's I mean, like
producer,
exactly, and they have a harder life. I mean, even regardless, I mean, like, it's a lot of hard work.
Yes.
So it's expensive to make.
That's right.
So then, and you see that they're in a worse economic condition than you are. That's
sobering.
It is.
Clarifying.
I mean, whoever does that is a bad person.
Yeah.
And so I think not everyone can afford or invest in a bottle on a $90 bottle.
Yeah.
So Nocheluna, I think, has the right price point, the right ABV for consumers to discover the category, but also change the backlash of if they have tried the bad Sotol at some point, or a Sotol. Not. I think. Let me rephrase that. A Sotol that is not the quality that they needed, or it's an unstable fermentation,
right.
or I don't know. I mean, there's bad batches.
All those things I definitely understand.
And to change their minds, to change. I think it's a very approachable, friendly.
I like
spirit.
I do, and I've had a lot of Sotol. I've made quite a bit of Destilado de Dazzler. I've got a couple questions left for you, and this has been really great catching up in this way too. we talk about stuff, but sometimes we go well into the deep depth of night, and sometimes I don't always remember. Right? But Tell me what kind of guy Don Lalo is. I've never met Don Lalo.
That's perfect, because actually I was going to make a parenthesis to talk about Don Lalo.
Yeah, no, I want to know what kind of guy he is, right?
He's for me, he's like a second father figure.
Really?
Yeah, my dad passed away in 2017.
Okay.
I was just out of Tales of the Cocktail.
Uh-huh.
And so, I mean, I enjoyed him in life,
Yeah, like you and your dad were close?
Yeah. I used to. I mean, as you know, we have the apple orchard back in Chihuahua. Right. So I went for the apple harvest with him. We used to spend a lot of time together. Like we would go to the cottage at the ranch and watch Game of Thrones.
Nice.
Like while making dinner and having a bit of Sotol.
Can I, to that point, and the larger Don Lalo story, but did you feel like you understood your father?
Not at the time. I now do.
Now you do.
Yes, I think. I mean, he he was a very good person to his family.
Yeah,
he was the eldest.
Yeah,
so he supported all of his brothers. Started businesses, was very successful, and then everyone took advantage of that. So he ended up like a lot more hard, a lot more because he wanted to train us that way so it wouldn't happen to us.
Don't get taken advantage of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because as my brother, I have two brothers and a sister.
Yeah.
And we're very close, very tight. And he taught us that. He also told us, like, hey, this is your family.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be fighting over, I don't know, properties or money or whatever. You have to be close. And that's something that still resembles. It still resounds on me. I am lucky enough to enjoy them, get to see them when I'm in Chihuahua. Yeah. And we go golf Saturday and Sunday. Really? Because it's 4 hours that you have them to,
being present.
Exactly. Right, yeah. And enjoying their company because we rarely get to see each other.
Yeah.
And that's exactly a moment to be present, to enjoy them, to talk about life, to talk about our problems, to just catch up. And so yes, and sometimes friends of us tell us like, hey, how do you guys get along so well? I mean, my brother in the middle, well, my eldest brother is like a mentor to me, and the one in the middle is like my best friend. I mean, we go to we take trips together, we go to concerts together. We're always, actually, there's a funny story on a golf tournament. We were playing in teams. My two brothers, another friend that's almost like a brother as well, and myself. And so we were playing a tournament that was a team tournament, and we were with another foursome that was very good. We're average, I'm bad.
Yeah.
But my brothers are let's say regular. Yeah. And the other guy that was with us is good. But I mean, we didn't have very good, like handicap average between us to win anything. But the other guys that were on the other foursome were really good, and we were right there with them.
Really?
Yeah, we were matching them. We were like, interesting. So then we were tied at one of the holes, and we were trying to get a putt that had like a curve, and it was uphill. It was super difficult. And my brother in the middle, boom, he put it in, and then we went on and on. Like we took a lead on them and kept adding to the lead.
No way.
And I was like, I mean, this is gonna be lame for a lot of people, but I don't care. So I told my brother, like, because the prize was in cash.
Mm-hmm.
So I told my brother, hey, if we win, there's a music festival in Mexico City, and the Backstreet Boys were headlining. So I mean, like guilty pleasure from high school, and I'm like, let's let's do it if we win something.
Holy shit!
And he's like, in, because he loves them too. So we won second place. We won like I don't know, like $2,000, and
That's great.
I mean, between the four, but with that, I mean, that gave us 4 tickets for the plane.
That's perfect.
So it was exciting because like you earned it in a very weird way. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. But again, I mean, for me, yes, family is important, and whenever I have the opportunity, I'll be like, hey, let's all get
Spend
together.
some time together.
Yes, because I mean, my mom, for instance, she's 75 years old.
Oh.
And I mean,
not gonna move.
Yeah, but you have to. I mean, you never know. So
I know.
I mean,
well, and this is why I asked you about understanding your father. Well, Don Lalo too, but like understanding your father, because I've had in my adult years, in the past 4 or 5 years, I've had time to get to know him in a very profound way, and I've had an interesting kind of upbringing and stuff, which we'll talk about at some point. But it's I'm thankful for it. I'll be sad when he's gone. There's no doubt. But I won't feel like I missed out on the man, because I asked him every question I thought.
Exactly. And that's what gives you peace.
That's right.
And that's, for me, that's what happened with my dad. I mean, I was like, we have to understand we're only, how can I say it, like borrowed to this
that's right.
to this planet, you know?
Yeah. It's always finite. It's always a certain amount of time. So when you talk about Don Lalo being a second father, tell me what you mean.
So with Don Lalo, when we were working on Clande, as we worked through Sotoleros and now Nocheluna, we started this project out of the ground. When I talk about the ground, I mean it all comes back to him, and just to have that common struggle of, I mean, back in the days, it was going to middle of nowhere to produce, to go into ranches and producing there. I mean, we used to use my dad's old pickup truck.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That he left after he passed, and it wasn't like brand new or anything. It was like old and would break down very often. So it was about bringing extra tires and tools to fix the truck or repair parts. Just like buying groceries because you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So suffering,
Yes. Yeah.
And just struggling to make the payroll to take care of the people. And most of the people that were there with us remain with us, on the team.
Yeah.
At least some of them, and more than a team, like a family, because you build that connection. They take care of you, and you take care of them.
Right.
And just going through all of that with Don Lalo, but it's even more fascinating because it's not only the material things. It's not that him being a partner in the brand, which there's very, very few companies that have a maestro being the partner. He's 71 years old, fourth generation maestro, and he has taught a lot of his neighbors on how to make sotol. He's a maestro. He's a master of the desert.
Yeah, mentoring.
Mentoring, exactly. And it's not only having a good salary, benefits, is a good pickup truck, badass pickup truck that he deserved. And I loved, like it was actually, it was frustrating because the first one we bought with the company got stolen while they were transporting it.
What the fuck, really?
Yes. So that was, but I mean, everything happens for a reason, because it was like a more, like like more like luxury one.
Yeah.
And it was right around COVID when there weren't
Okay.
any
Available, right?
yeah, exactly. You had to be on like on a list,
Mm-hmm.
and he ended up getting like a more like a work truck.
Good, which I'm sure he wanted.
He exactly. That's I mean exactly. That's the one he appreciates more because
Yep.
he can. He's. I admire him a lot,
Does he have kids?
yes, 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 yes. So just one boy and four girls, but I mean they're uh, all I mean Eduardo Junior. He's around my age,
Okay.
so he's
He
41.
makes sotol or no?
Every now and then.
Okay.
He used to work with us too.
But he knows how.
He knows how. Yes, he's right now he's taking care of Don Lalo's ranch.
I see.
So I mean, because Don Lalo is now full time here.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back to it, it's not only the material things, but also the fact that he's recognized now as one of the best distillers in the world.
Right.
So that for me is valuable.
Good?
I mean, having his stamp on our bottle, the iron from the cattle of his grandfather's ranch, Eduardo Arrieta. For me, that's beautiful. And so many stories, man. I mean, every time I carry him with me, you know, sometimes whenever I'm talking, I talk about him. Then our lunch, our brand lunch, which was just a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We were in Mexico City, and as you know, our partners have a lot of contacts in the music,
entertainment industry.
and entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, kind of fancy place.
Does he like that stuff? Does Don Lalo like being? Because I think I know the answer to this, but does he like being on stage? Does he like being recognized like that?
You know, it is funny because I think he was born for it.
Oh, okay, amazing.
When Lenny went to Chihuahua, there were some amazing pictures of them being, you know, they conversed, they hanged out, and the when they portrayed him, Mark Seliger, very famous photographer, he was head photographer for Rolling Stone. He does the Oscars, and he was like, "Wow, Don Lalo is an incredible model, you know, like for
he's a star.
Pictures." Yes, I mean it was just something that just a Sotol, something that was waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so when we were doing the red carpet, I was a little concerned that Don Lalo would get, you know, like very like
stage fright.
I mean, not like stage frightened, but like I don't want to do this, you know, like overwhelmed by the people, too many people, and we were walking the red carpet, and then they took photos of Don Lalo, Lenny, myself, and at some point we were taking single photos. So he was by himself with 40 different media with their huge cameras just like flashing, and I was like a little concerned, you know, just just very close
First
to him
time
in case exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, Don Lalo, here. Hey, Don Lalo, here." And then, "Hey, Don Lalo, can you greet us?" And he did like this thing with his hat, like, out. I'm like, wow! I have it. I have it on my phone still. You know, like that image.
That's incredible.
And that's when you know he was born for it. You know.
I love this.
And it was one of the most beautiful nights of my life.
Yeah.
Not because of the fanciness, not because of the artists.
You got to see Don Lalo be recognized.
Exactly. But also, you know, when I showed him the venue, we arrived early, of course, for photos and whatnot. And a lot of the museography were photos from the desert, from him, from our team. Everything was there. And I was following him, you know, like just taking photos of him. And he was like just watching himself, you know, like on a wall, on a huge, incredible photo taken by one of the best photographers in the world.
Yeah.
and that's what he deserves and more.
That's amazing. And I'm so glad I asked, because that's not the story I thought I would get, and it's beautiful to hear.
Well, it only gets better.
Tell me.
So, well, and I'll put a small music side story there. We gave some words, sort of a speech. We had a toast, and we were on some stairs / stage.
Mm-hmm.
Then we came down from the stairs, and a Mexican pop rock musician that I love, that I have enjoyed and sang, and part of my playlist.
Yeah.
His name is Benny Ibarra. He's the first person that comes to me and gives me a hug, and he's like, "Brother, this is amazing. I've always loved Sotol. What an incredible project. Congratulations." And I'm like, "It's Benny Ibarra." It's just like it was a lot of fun. I mean,
That's
a lot of random things that happen, and so then at the end of the night, by the way, actually my eldest brother Dario,
was he there?
He happened to be there. We were very short on capacity and invites and whatnot, but ironically that year he hit a hole-in-one at golf. So he was playing a national tournament of hole-in-ones.
Oh my god!
The same day that we did the launch.
No way.
So he went to the event, and the last ones at the bar, it was Don Lalo, my brother, Ernesto Lobio, a friend of mine that used to do the agave cultivation program for Pernod Ricard. Then Noel, who was an ex-CEO for Pernod Ricard in Mexico, a really good friend as well. It was only us left there, and Don Lalo and Ernesto. Ernesto is from Sonora, so they were singing this super old, sad song, a cappella, of course. And Noel was recording, I was recording. Tears were just falling off of Don Lalo's face, of joy, of course. But it was, for me, that was a representation of, I made it. That is, one of the most powerful things that I've ever seen.
That's incredible, man.
And we're very proud of our project.
Yeah.
It is something that it's a game changer for the category. We do it with pride in Aldama. We stand up for our people. And I'm just so proud of him, I love it. When we hang out, I love hanging out with him, and when we catch up, we spend so much time, and it's like a father-son relation. That's what I was telling you.
Yeah,
they sent my dad back,
Yeah.
And he always tell me "Pinche Chapo, siempre sí saliste chingón." like Shorty, you're a good mofo.
Yeah, you always be good.
So yes, it's for me it has been a lot of magic. Even naming the brand.
Yeah.
The brand had a meaning for me, and I didn't want a marketing person just coming up with something they found on Wikipedia the most cliche name. Right. The name is also inspired in music. So it's inspired by, I was browsing through El Corrido de Chihuahua, a popular song anthem that describes the whole state. And it has a verse that says, "Lindas las noches de luna, alegradas con Sotol. Beautiful are the nights by the moon that are meant to be enjoyed sipping Sotol."
Yeah.
And there it was. I pitched in to Moy Guindy, our CEO, "Hey, Noche de Luna." He's like, it's kind of corny, but what about Noche Luna? I don't care. I just wanted to have a meaning, So then we pitched it to Lenny's team.
Yeah.
He was like, "That's a home run. The moon, because the moon is just as powerful as the sun." He fell in love with it. But it's a name that we were all in love with. Don Lalo loved it too.
That's amazing.
And so that's what I want. Just people to be proud of their land, to be proud of their culture, for Chihuahua to thrive, to become the next Oaxaca.
Yeah.
What Oaxaca was 10 years ago, I think Chihuahua is today. We have some incredible chefs that are friends of mine that I support and that I admire, that I want more business go to them.
Yeah.
I want them to be on the lists. I want, people to be more aware of the Haramuri culture, that are people that are being displaced, that are underrepresented. So I think this industry can help in a lot of ways to do that.
I absolutely agree, and I'm so glad we talked, man, because I don't ever know what these conversations are going to be like, right? I didn't know back 8-9 years ago when I first met you in person, but we've really stayed in touch, and the story of Don Lalo, the story of Nocheluna, your journey, it's really been just like amazing to hear it again, because it's different now. This is almost a decade later that we're talking. You're doing different things, but I think that you're really, you're the mayor of Chihuahua.
No, I think what I want is to always be true to my roots.
Yeah.
I hope that you see that you're talking to the same person.
Yeah.
That you were 10 years ago on
Certainly
the core.
Person. Yeah. Yeah. No,
on the core, and I think I don't know. Sometimes I don't know, success or with whatever that means.
Right.
Sometimes can blind you. And that's what I tell people. Like sometimes they tell me, "Oh, you're gonna have a lot of success or whatever." I'm like, just if you ever, like see me acting
arrogant,
exactly, with arrogance or something, just give me
smack in the time. That has never been the case. You've always been very humble and always very inclusive.
Because of my mentor.
Yeah.
I mean, I to be honest, I want to be like that's who I look up to.
Yeah, we both do.
And I think that's what makes us, like very compatible. And because I think the good crew will always be stronger than the bad crew. Those that are spreading hate and spreading gossip and bad things. It's just like Don Lalo says, when sometimes people comes and interviews him, and he's like, "But what do you want me to talk about? Because I will only talk about good things. About bad things, I won't."
I love that.
So for me, it's that. Let's focus on the love. Let's focus on helping. Let's focus on positive.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way. I think we both share that. So, Ricardo, I know you got some more things to do here in Austin. I'm glad we got to hang out last night, and this has just been a pleasure to get to catch up, man.
Man, it's always a pleasure to be here, and I wanted also to congratulate you because we followed each other paths. We don't get to see each other as much as we would like, but I think it's your show. It's very underrated. I think you
yes, it is, Ricardo. Thank you for
because no, really. I mean, I think this needs to get out there more.
Yeah,
and this needs to be rewarded because how many episodes do you have currently?
This would be around like 400, I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't think many people has done it.
No,
and that's and that's the beauty about this. It's a form of art that it's timeless.
That's right. That's all I want. As you talked about, making sure that you could be a diplomat for the work of others. That's all I'm doing. This isn't about me. So, Ricardo, thanks for chatting again.
Cheers, brother.
We'll talk soon, yeah? Well, there we have it. Ricardo Pico, El Sotolero, one of the singular forces and representatives of Chihuahua in the world of Sotol. I've learned a lot from him. I think we've all learned a lot about Sotol from him. And it's great that I can call him a friend. We've really known each other almost 10 years now. And to sit down in a new way as new people. I'm older, he's older. We've been through certain kinds of interesting things in life. And to hear the story of Nocheluna is great. And he's excited. and he has amazing reverence for Don Lalo. And I have yet to meet Don Lalo, but I guarantee you I will have to interview him. So thanks, Ricardo, for sitting down and chatting with me yet again. And thanks, everybody, for listening to Show to V with Mike G, the show of life, the show of wild turkey, barrel wood on your wall, and so much more. Please keep dancing.